This is beautiful. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to What's Good, Bro Special Edition, sponsored by HBO. Man, we're here this evening to really highlight Black men and the struggles that we always go through, but then we're able to always come out on the other side and survive. This is also in highlighting of the documentary of the Yusuf Hawkins story, Storm Over Brooklyn. So make sure y'all go check that out on HBO and HBO Max now. And so it's available now. So make sure you check out that amazing story. But it's also something that's highlighting things that we as Black men deal with on a regular basis here in America. So I wanted to introduce my fellows here tonight. It's going to be an interesting conversation, really just based off of the fact that y'all can see we're Black men, but then we're also therapists, man, and we actually serve individuals when it comes down to addressing their mental health. But then whether that's individuals, groups, couples, all of the array of different things. So wanted to come here and have a conversation about, what it's like to be a Black man here. But then how do we deal with our own struggles and our mental health battles? And what do we do to teach other people about these things? So I want to open it up for our panelists to introduce who they are. I want to start with Bashea.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Appreciate the introduction, Rwenshaun. My name is Bashea Williams. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, private practice mental health therapist in the DMV. If you don't know what the DMV is, it's DC, Maryland, Virginia. When I own and operate Hearts and Mind Counseling, where I see individuals, couples, families, the wide range of different things. My specialty are couples, or is couples, and I also love working with Black men and Black boys. I'm also the author of Dear Future Wife, A Man's Guide and a Woman's Reference to Healthy Relationships. And it's not just a read. It's not just a something that you just sit down and you make feel good. It's actually a workbook. So you really want to work on yourself. And it's for individuals. It's for people in relationship. It's for people outside of relationships. If you're looking to heal and really enhance your relationship with yourself or your partner, it's a great book to really work on yourself.
Dope. Yo, appreciate you being here tonight, bro. Mel, we're going to go with Stevon.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Stevon Lewis. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm based out of Southern California. Private practice is in Torrance, but I reside in Inglewood. In my private practice, I work with individuals struggling with imposter syndrome. So these are people who are doing really well in life. We look at them and we say they're killing it and they're really, accomplishing a lot of stuff. But for whatever reason, they are unable to tangibly connect to their success. So they walk around in life with this fear of being found out to be a fraud at some point. So I kind of help them reduce their anxiety and depression as related to their feelings of imposterism.
Dope. Appreciate you being here tonight, bro. Yo, Aaron, what's up with you, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? So my name is Aaron Miller. I'm from Queens, New York. My wife and I, Dr. Trudy Ann Gale, own Life Matters Psychological Services, which is in Valley Stream, New York, where we do psychological testing, see individuals, couples, and children. My primary specialty is working with anxiety and depression. I see a lot of couples for relationship issues as well. I'm also the founder of Black Kings Need Therapy Too t-shirt right here, which is encouraging Black men to get therapy. I'm also the owner of Black Male Therapists, which is a Facebook group, which was over 700 Black male therapists in that group. And that's about it, I think.
Man, like y'all can see, these gentlemen are doing some amazing work. My name is Rashawn Miller. I am the founder and executive director of Eustress Inc., which is a nonprofit to raise mental health awareness in Black and Brown communities. But then also I'm the co-founder of the Good Stress Company, which is my private practice where I specialize in working with Black males ranging from age 4 all the way up to like 72. So that's my specialty. But then I also work with couples. I do some work with women as well, and family stuff as well. So because I understand that it's going to take a holistic approach to be able to address mental health challenges, especially when we're working with kids, man. So the adults in their lives need to address their own issues before we can make sure that they are good and then being able to support them. So it's an honor to be here, man. I think this is a unique group. not only just because we're 4 Black men discussing mental health, but then we're also 4 Black therapists discussing mental health. And so I guess, we here to celebrate the Black man, and we're here to celebrate, just the things that we have accomplished over the years, but then the sense of triumph over all of the disparities that go on in this nation. But I wanted to start it off with the first question, bro. And then y'all feel free to answer. Y'all know how we do. We chop it up. So that's another thing too. We're friends. So we talk to each other all the time. So, yo, I want to throw it out there. Yo, my bad, fellas. Y'all know I'll be remiss if I ain't start off the way I normally start off. Yo, how are y'all doing? That's my first question.
Yeah. Well, who wants to start? We all pretend to be humble when we have these.
I'll start. I'll take that number one spot, right? So life is really good for me. Actually, I had to kind of check in with my own therapist, whatnot, to kind of just consult and see life is really good. Am I missing something? Because I know the way the world is right now, it feels kind of weird to say that, right? Sure, I put in work and I've tried to plan appropriately and set myself up so that life would be continuing to go well for me. But it felt kind of awkward considering, COVID going on, the civil unrest, racial injustices and all that stuff. And not to, being a Black man in America that, I'm obviously impacted by that stuff vicariously. But in reality, if I'm being honest, life is really good for me. I mean, my business is flowing. I am helping a ton of people, also assisting other therapists with getting connected with clients and stuff that I can't take on myself. So, I mean, I'm feeling real blessed right now and real good in life.
Yeah.
Sound like you the plug, G.
Nice, man.
Right?
I do what I can, there,
I'll follow up. So life is really good for me as well. I recently got married. I recently got married.
Nice.
Words of Dear Future Wife came into fruition. And so life is amazing for me. I'm having family. My practice is doing well. I'm so, I'll say I'm so in love with helping other people, whether it's they're struggling with anxiety, depression, relationship issues. I love everything about relationships. So being able to really sit down with a couple and help them navigate through some of the challenges was just always, and a lot of times simply the language that they speak to each other. So I love that. Again, my son is good. My family is good right now. And again, like you said, Stevon, with everything going on, I've been able to tune some things out and just to be present with myself. And that allowed me to be okay with the success that I'm having and the good feelings that I'm having.
Dope, man. Congratulations again, though.
Yeah, congrats on the marriage, man. Very nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
what kind of shoes did you have?
We got a who?
What kind of shoes did you have for your wedding?
Oh,
There you go. See?
He was lit. He was lit.
Go, see. I did a little something. I did some Pro Kids. You know how we do. I did some Shacks. I'm a shoe guy. So Aaron is the same way. I'm a shoe guy. So I made sure that I went all out in the shoes for, everybody had the same shoes for the ceremony. And then we switched it up for the after party. Then we switched it up for the brunch the next day. So it was fun.
Yes, sir. It was, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh man, Aaron, what's good with you, bro?
Oh man. So I would say in March, I wasn't good during the COVID time. A lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. Fast forward, thank God, family's healthy. That's big, very important. I got to spend a lot of time with my 3-year-old, my 1-year-old, just to kind of see a lot of development and seeing them grow and stuff like that. So that's awesome while working from home. So I appreciate that. Practice is still doing very well, even though, working from home. So I'm very, very appreciative, and just being able to manage my own anxiety, talking to my therapist weekly or bi-weekly has been great. And just fostering relationships with like my family and making sure that everybody's staying connected. Recently had my wife threw an awesome 37th birthday party for me in pandemic style in the yard.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe in terms of like people said speeches and things like that. And I even realized the impact that I'm make on my own family. Certain things that I just do automatically. I didn't know that they really took stock of it and appreciated, me checking on them or just feeling that, my boy said, like, how do you make everybody feel valued? And I'm like, I don't know, just something that I do, so just being very appreciative of life and treating every birthday, every day as a milestone, especially the climate that we're in right now, in terms of social, civil unrest and social unrest and stuff, just being mindful about what I tune into and just using my platform to encourage Black men, to seek out mental health and being strong internally so that they could face what's going on out here.
Right, because your birthday was broadcasted everywhere, right? It was on billboards, it was in different countries and all that.
Not at all. It was a very intimate, quarantine style, with, just making it close, man, very, very small in the yard, very, very humble, very small thing,
Yeah, okay. So when you say yard, when you say the acre, yeah, like it's not yard, it's the acre.
I like how my man said like the pandemic style birthday.
It is. It was like homemade rice and peas and oxtail. It was very, very small.
The pandemic style birthday is the drive by and you wave. That's
right.
Yours was like dining room table.
Color coordinated with glitter everywhere.
Oh man,
color schemes and everything blacked out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
that's my wife. She it got to be like that. I appreciate it for it. It was dope though. It was amazing.
Dope. Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
What's good with you, bro?
Man, last week, man, I went home, man, just because my hometown got hit by the tornado. So I made sure that I had to go check in on fam and extended fam, because I'm from a small area, man. So we're all considered family, and we all pitched in to do whatever we possibly could. So I went down there to set up a mental health clinic, man, and just if anybody needed to talk, man, I posted up at the Y. It takes a lot of work to do that, but it was satisfying just to be able to serve within my capacity. Wow. And just utilize my talents to be able to help other people. And then a lot of times it's just giving a listening ear, man, and then just allowing them to vent, because a lot of people lost every single thing. So it was heartbreaking, but then also it was good to see our entire county come together to help out. Outside of that, man, I'm on the go between, practice is good, when it comes down to seeing clients and everything, and then my clinicians that work with me. But then also school, man, I got one more class with this PhD, bro.
Nice.
Yo, hey, look, man, I'm oh my gosh. Right there, right? So, and then the only thing left is the dissertation, man. So, I feel good about it, but it's a beautiful thing just to see more people starting to. I think we can all attest to this, even during the COVID times, man. Is more people taking their mental health seriously when it comes down to reaching out to a professional. And I heard you all say your practices are doing well, but that's only because people are actually reaching out and people are actually trying to put in this work to get healthier. So I think that can attest to the, all of the campaigns that's been going on to erase stigma, all of these different things, all of these things play a huge movement into this work that's actually being done. But I guess one of the things I wanted to, start off with, since we got the formalities out of the way, I want to start off with, man, what's the impact on racism? What impact does racism have on mental health, especially as us as Black men?
Oh man, it's so many depths to that, and it's so many things that plays in our thought process on a daily basis that we don't even pay attention to. Right. And how we affected emotionally, physically, the way we think, the way we move, and we don't even think about it, the hypervigilance, how we respond to certain things. We see things online and all of a sudden we either shrink or we got to inflate ourselves to protect ourselves, when we're just trying to walk and we just see things and we just respond to it. So already just feeling a level of devalue. So now I have to show up differently. Like we get messages that we've been getting growing up, like you got to be 10 times better, you know, just to be seen, you know, not to excel, just to be seen. So all those things that are embedded in us, man, and it affects the way it causes anxiety, it causes depression, it causes us to, you know, really disassociate from what's really happening in order to stay alive, to survive. So many different things how racism is just impacting us. We're watching it on TV, we're watching it when we walk out our door. We have this feeling, a sense of that now I have to put up this shield or whatever it is. When I walk out the house, automatically we have all this stuff hitting us, man. It's just so much.
Totally. And I feel like you, like Paul said, you have to put up this shield, you know, of anger and aggression, right? So this hypervigilance, and that impacts how you interact not only with law enforcement, but in your own, within your families and within at work. So now you just build up, because it's hard to differentiate between, okay, now I'm gonna put it down, I'm put it up. Once you develop that just from growing up, imagine, I don't know if you saw the film or this snippet of this young boy playing ball outside, and then the cop passed by and then he hid behind the car. At that young age, you develop this kind of mindset that they're not to be trusted. So that impacts how you get older, and we have to interact with them in some shape or form. And if you live in a city neighborhood, 9 times out of 10, it's in a very kind of confrontational type of way. So that kind of affects how you interact. So now you're a little bit more hyper, a little bit more on guard, right? And then with that creates kind of that confrontational piece between them. And now that reinforces, because now they're responding with anger and aggression as well, as opposed to coming from a place of, listen, I just want to ask you this question. No, they're responding in anger as well. That creates that conflict in that dynamic. So racism plays a huge role on mental health, more, as Paul said, than we realize. And I feel like talking about it is really, really important. So, and as I work with Black men, it's like being aware of it. That's really, really important. Being aware of what I know we use the word trigger a lot, but what triggers you off, and so that you can respond differently. The thing is that being aware so that you don't respond in the typical way that can further kind of perpetuate the narrative that usually takes place when we interfere with, whether it be law enforcement or anything like that. So I feel like knowledge of it, talking about it, and knowing how it affects you.
For sure. Like I think about, for myself, like the vicarious trauma, right? Of like maybe in this moment of the stuff that we're seeing, you know, like when you think about like Ahmaud Arbery or, you know, George Floyd, like that, it didn't happen to Stevon Lewis, but also it impacts Stevon Lewis a whole lot, right? Like seeing someone that looks like me being slaughtered hurts. And, you know, like you guys talked about, putting up that facade so that I can kind of continue to assist and support other people. And, you know, if you have clients that aren't Black, you know, then it's another level of trying to take care of, because they may not even know about it or understand it. Mm-hmm. And so like in this time, I think it's, you know, really unique, because when you're trying to help someone, it's like you're also kind of having a process too, right? And so like, you know, you're thinking about before COVID hit, of like how, you know, Kobe died, right? And like, I know a lot of the men that came into my practice were hurt by that. Like Black men were like, you know, shook up of like, yo, this young brother is gone. Like, I can't believe it. Then COVID hits. Then you have like, you know, the murders and all that stuff happening. And then it's like, they're telling you their story and their experience. And you're also trying to manage like, man, I am supporting you, but also me being a Black man looking like you, I am also still really impacted by this stuff that I've got to deal with on my own. But, you know, we're all kind of hurting in the same way. You know, it's like almost kind of being at war where, you know, we're all getting shot at, and I'm trying to help you as I'm also getting shot at. You know, it's a tough thing. And I think that, you know, people need to understand that racism, even if it's not, you know, direct, it still has an impact, especially when you're a black person and a Black man in America.
No, that's real, man. I think you know, I agree with everything that y'all said, but then also I have a little different aspect, just because I was born and raised in the South, and so I've seen racism firsthand. Even a couple of years ago, man, you had KKK rallies, you know, right down the street from me. So like, I know for people that are say, you know, racism doesn't exist anymore, or, you know, all of these types of things, I was like, yo, what world are y'all living in?
Right.
Because I mean, like, even as recent as 2 years ago, that was 2018, and you still got people marching around with hoods on. So, like, what are you saying? Like, and who am I, you know, to walk up on them or anything like that? They don't care about my life, you know. And so even growing up, I was taught that at a very early age. You know who lives where and what store and stuff you need to go in, what side of town you need to go on, and protect yourself. And then also you always gotta, you know, like all of y'all said, you gotta wear this facade and this mask where you're, when it comes down to the racism aspect, you gotta dumb yourself down to a certain degree, especially so if you want to make it home. Like, you know, if you want to make it, you gotta yes sir and all this stuff. You gotta come off as timid so that you can not so they won't get riled up. You know what I'm saying? So like, what type of life is that to live, man? That stress that you're constantly always dealing with, understand, like wherever you go at, even and so like, I know you all said, you know, a lot of the stuff I've mentioned is blatant, is overt. But what about the covert stuff that you're dealing with in the workplace, or, you know, in some neighborhoods that you may live in? Let's be real. We are, you know, successful in our own right with certain, you know, we have degrees and all of this other stuff. So we may not live where we came from. You know what I'm saying? So like, then you're still looked at as you're less than because you're living in a certain neighborhood, or you're an anomaly because of the fact that, you know, no, not everybody is like you, or you're just that, you know what I'm saying, you're that standout. So I mean, it's like you said, Bashea, man, there's so many layers to that joint, man. And not only that, it also it passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You think about it, like, think about the relation. So you talked about playing small around them, and then you get around somebody that looks like you. Now you got to be inflated because you got to catch up to what you just been through.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And now you're competing with somebody who should be on your team, but we can't make the differentiation because, again, the generational trauma experience, vicarious, whatever it looks like, we're given these messages, and then we adopt them, and we become these messages, and we're still, you know, fighting somebody we should be locking arms with. And it's been so difficult. So we talk about in my practice, you know, I talk to the men about, you know, sometimes that's your brother, but your brother looks like your enemy because you can't differentiate what that looks like because you've never been taught, you know. So it's just so many, like I was saying, so many different layers to it, man.
Man, when Rashawn was talking, it made me think about like when he was kind of talking or discussing the part of, you know, having to say the yes sir or be polite or, you know, diminutive or whatnot. It made me think about like just how exhausting that is, right? That like if I've got anger and rage and it's righteous and rightfully so, because, you know, watching my brother be killed on TV, right? Like I can't show that. Like I've got to put on work, and even if I'm not in a bad mood because of that, and just life, you know, is hitting and I'm feeling the ups and downs of it, I've still got to put on a face. Like I've got to be on stage ready to operate when I leave my house, because if I don't do those things, I might not make it back home. Like I increase the chances or probability that I won't make it back. And thinking about like how exhausting that is to always have to be on. And I don't know that like people understand that, like when you're a Black male, like you think about those things. And then if you start to think about like, you know, if I have facial hair or how big am I, that plays into another thing that I know I smile a lot, partly because, you know, I like to smile and I'm a happy dude, but also I know that I'm trying to also ease like the response I get from other people because I'm a pretty big dude. So if I smile, hopefully they'll think he's cool, he's not a threat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the word I think that comes to mind is oppressive. You know, that feels very oppressive to me, right? Like I was mentioning before that, you know, even if no matter how humbly you may come, you may still be embarked on a confrontational situation with a law enforcement officer or anything like that. So then what are you supposed to do then when I've heard that I've came humbly, I just said what the issue is, and then they still come back with kind of a abrasive response. So now you get abrasive too, because that's now his natural response. Like you can't, and I've heard brothers say this, like you can't win. Like you come at you humble, you still, you know, treated oppressive. But if you come at you with an attitude, then you get an attitude. So what are you supposed to do?
Right, right. Like you said, it's exhausting. I mean, you got to challenge. We always talk about in our practices challenging the thoughts, right? So I got one thought that says I need to play small. Then I got one thought that says I need to protect myself. So now I'm challenging all these different things that hit in my head. How do I show up? And I'm confused. And whatever the first response is, the first response, and it's not always a good one because by the time I get to the hello, I'm exhausted.
You're tired. You're tired. And sometimes enough is enough, you know?
And so even going off of that, man, I wanted to, you know, how do you, you know, take care of yourself when so much stuff is going on?
Oh man. So that's, for me, that's a work in progress, because as I tell my clients that balance to me doesn't mean equal. Balance to me, because I'm not always going to get a chance to work out. I'm not always going to get a chance to hang with the homies. Not always going to get a chance to do, but to be intentional about having some type of self-care activity, right? And that's what I'm kind of imploring on my clients, is that being mindful, because we can be all or nothing. Either we having mad fun and then neglecting what we're supposed to do, or the opposite. So just being mindful of including little pieces of self-care activity. So that's what I've been doing with, trying to, go to the gym, trying to, at home, or making sure that I have downtime, or making sure that I'm having my therapy sessions. So if I know for me, I could get lost in helping other people and not being mindful of my own therapy, I ensure that I establish my sessions for the month. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. So I'm intentional to make sure that my sessions is scheduled, because I can easily get carried away by scheduling everybody else for me to see them, and then I don't have my own therapy session. So being mindful and intentional about including, having your self-care activities.
Yeah, and for me, it's like routine. Routine is important, so I have my morning set up. But also, if I don't match my routine or meet it, I'm still okay. So we get ourselves, it's like, all right, I got to set this routine up. It's what we talk about with clients and stuff like that, what self-care looks like, what I'm going to do in the morning, what I'm going to do before I go to sleep. But sometimes I'm too tired before I go to sleep and I don't do it. I'm not going to beat myself up for yesterday. I'm going to stay present in the moment and really understand that, okay, it's not that bad. Let me just move on to the next thing. Or let me just shift. So being able to shift, we talk about balance. Balance isn't always equal, like you said, but being okay with a shift and not feeling like you're adopting, or you are the thing that messed up, separating the problem from yourself. There's so many different things that we can do, but allow yourself to just enjoy some of the little things that we take for granted.
That's like swimming in your pool, the Olympic-sized pool in the back.
I don't have a pool, but I love music. So sometimes I just chill, like even in between sessions. I might go and I just call the wife. It's like, let's just dance. And that just allows me to kind of just like shake off that stuff. You do the little silly stuff and just allow yourself to be a kid again in those moments and not be so uptight. Yeah. I have fun with my clients. Like, we're not just up there like a suit and like, no, so tell me what's going on. Nah, I'm talking to you. Like, I want to know what's going on. I do a little self-disclosure when it's appropriate. But it's, it's all about the relationship. And so when you're dealing with all that stuff, and you also got to eliminate some of those things that you ingest, that is available. Just because it's available doesn't mean you have to watch it or be a part of it.
I'm pretty strict. Like I'm the king of boundaries. So I navigate and get my life, like, like Bashea said about like rules and kind of, putting up a routine. Like I've got a thing, like I like to cycle. So, on the weekends, I'm gonna get out for some hours. I'm gonna be out on the bike. Don't look for me. So I set up boundaries. Like I don't see clients on weekends. As I've started to do, more speaking engagements and stuff like that, I've had to kind of do some more shifting. So like now I've kind of dialed it back to not seeing, clients on Fridays, so that I can have that space and opportunity for the speaking stuff. So, like you said, making those transitions and those shifts, but also I think trying to, you can't always get to that stuff. And I think, the thing I do is try to monitor how frequent I allow my routine to be interrupted, right? So like as much as I can kind of plan for that, given an emergency, obviously we got to react, we got to do what we got to do. But like I try to plan out like, hey, I know that next weekend I've got this and this, and, you know, I'm not going to be able to ride. So am I going to try to get that in the week? Or how am I going to, you know, prepare myself so that I can continue to give? Because I know, like Bashea was saying, is like, you know, we are giving a lot to our clients, right? Like, I mean, it's not a stuffed shirt, you know, we're doing all this stuff. Like, I'm in there laughing, I'm feeling the pain, I'm talking to them about stuff, you know, we really connected. And so it's like, you know, trying to be able to say, like, I need to be able to give, and I can go into my reserves a bit, but monitoring how much I do that, because I can't make a routine of that. Otherwise, I'll kind of go bankrupt.
Absolutely.
That's real. I think for me, incorporating all of those things that you all said, man, but then also understanding that I got to get to myself first. I make sure that each day, man, that I start off every day by giving to myself, whether that's with my self-care routine or whether that's just with me just taking a break. And I'm y'all know I'm up early in the morning. So 4 o'clock, I'm up, working out, meditating, writing in my journal. You know, making sure I do those things before I even touch a phone, before I touch a email or any of those types of things, because we start, I know as soon as I start engaging with that stuff, I'm starting to pour out to everybody else. And then I totally negate anything that I need. Because even if I look at my schedule, I'm like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. So I'm going back to back. Even if I put in a break in between, in my mind, I was like, all right, I still got to do this for the rest of the day. So I got to make sure that I pour into myself first before I do anything else. And even with so much going on and so many different stressors, you got to find that place, man. You got to find that stuff that makes you happy. And not just base it off of, you know, just because, oh, they say I should meditate, or they say that I should enjoy nature, that I have to force myself to do it. Because sometimes if you're trying to stick a round peg through a square hole, you know, it ain't gonna work.
No, it ain't gonna work.
Right. So you got to find what works for you. And but then also, I would say, giving yourself that opportunity to find out what works for you. So,
Right.
you know, you got to try stuff. You got to explore who you are. You got to be honest with yourself.
A lot of people don't know, though. A lot of people don't. And I noticed that when you ask people, so what do you like to do? They're like, I really don't know. And, you know, and what self-care activity work for you? And oftentimes some of the self-care activities may not be the most healthiest. So now we're working with them on finding healthier, self-care activities. Because oftentimes the ones that they're doing is the ones that brought them into therapy. You know, or when we talk about it, be like, oh wow, that's really interesting that you use that when you know, to talk about it, find it's not really healthy for them and then unaware of it, right? Because that's something that they just been doing, whether to mask or deal with their trauma, right? And that's how they kind of deal with it. But when you kind of unpack it and talk to them and say that, you know, there are healthier ways to manage that and educate them on that and make them aware, they find that they can do other things.
Mm-hmm. Another level to that too is just helping them recognize that some of the things that they're taking for granted that are actually doing are some of the things that are healthcare, that are healthy, that helps them get throughout the day. So like I said, when I created the calendar, a lot of people realized they were already doing stuff. They were already making like playlists and listening to music and realize, okay, they're already setting up their rooms before they go to sleep. Like they have the air conditioner on, the fan going, which helps them sleep. So, oh, that does help me sleep. So you help them recognize, again, being present, what you're actually doing, as opposed to just living. It's just so beneficial to them, man. I mean, I know that helped me. So, you know, having that conversation and being very transparent and vulnerable enough to say, and I think that's why we relate to so many different people, because we're very transparent and vulnerable, like online or in spaces, to say, like, this is real. Like, we're not up here pretending like we got it all together. Like I was telling y'all before, sometimes I show up in my sessions, I just shave the front of my head. The back got the hair, you know, but it's just real. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but you touched on a great point, man. I wanted to know, like, so what kinds of things can we do to make sure that we start to reduce that stigma that's associated with mental health, and especially for Black men?
Right.
Well, these conversations, I feel like more than ever before, like the conversation around mental health, I don't remember it being this fluid and this just out there, and celebrities just talk about it and endorsing it. Whereas it wasn't a conversation. Now it's like the talk everywhere, which I really appreciate, and I hope that it's not a trend or a fad, and that this is actually continuing to have the conversation. And because I'm always wondering about now stigma, like, is it still a stigma? Because the way the conversations that we're having about it, is it really a stigma? And it's okay if everybody don't ascribe. Like, I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody don't have to, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? You know about it, and you know that a lot of people enjoy. You know, a lot of people need it. Now, you may not like fried chicken, but you may like grilled chicken. Doesn't mean that fried chicken is bad. You just don't like it. So that stigma that was there, I can't ascribe. And I do a lot of conversation. I'm like, I can't say that stigma is like that worldwide, like, oh my God, he's in therapy. Like, nah, like people are bragging on their pages like, yo, this is my therapist, and highlighting them and stuff, when it was taboo once upon a time to say that you're in therapy.
I mean, I feel you. I see it.
In certain communities, it's still real. Like,
yeah.
I was at a university, and like when you start to have international students there, and like the fact that like they are not seeking this stuff out, first. And I'm not saying like it's only international students, but I'm in certain countries, just even the concept of therapy is like, what are you talking? Like, what do you talk to somebody about what? Right? Like you don't do that. It's still seen as a sign of weakness. Right. And I mean, I think that like in the Black community, it's starting to shift. And just, I mean, overall, I think just because of the generational shift that's happening, call out culture is making it a thing of where like, yo, just as you so into, how your body looks, if you're not operating on this too and working on that, then you're really not doing much. Right. And so they're holding people accountable to say like, you got to do it all. Right. Like if you're going to work on yourself, don't just look good. You got to be good. And, I think that's pushing the change. But nah, man, I mean, I have people in my, ecology who do not engage in therapy, even though, I'm being a therapist, have mentioned it to them.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Because they don't agree with it, does that mean that it's not normal? Like the conversation, there used to be a taboo conversation. Everybody's not going to agree and say, I love therapy, I'm going. Everybody doesn't feel that about the gym. So it doesn't mean that gym is not like, everybody know that your physical health is important. Now, are you going to go and do it? That's a different story. I think that the awareness is there.
I think what's happening for us, because we're in both spaces, so we have more access to the conversation, whether it's good or bad. So we can look to the right and see people talking about it. We can look to in a healthy way, and we can look to the left and see people talking about it in an unhealthy way. So that we have a different lens when it comes to it, because I have both experiences where they still have people, whether it's family members, whether it's people that I walk down the street and it's like, therapy, no man needs to be doing therapy. Or especially when couples come, a lot of times it's one or the other who says, I don't need to talk. I'm only here because he or she said I need to be here.
Right.
So we still have the challenge that's there, but I think we're having more and more conversations because we're in that space.
But to that point, Bashea, I think it's more so too of the fact that how we were looking at stigma. It's one thing for us to have a conversation, but no, are you actually getting better? Like Stevon said. So like, I got people in my family, they support everything I do when it comes down to my nonprofit. They share everything and this, that, and the third. But when I ask them, I say, are you going to a therapist? Oh, I don't need that. I'm good. Like who? Like, so that's still stigma.
Right. Think about like the phrase, right? Like the phrase, you should probably see a therapist, right? Like that could be weaponized or it could be used as a way of compassion. And I think like when we talk about stigma, like depending on, what space you're coming from, is like, hey man, you're going through a lot, you might want to see a therapist, or like, hey, you're going through, so you need to go see a therapist. And it's like, just based on that, it's the same words, right? But like the impact, it comes from that place of, you crazy, you need to get some help, right? And I think that still exists.
I think the bottom line, as we both said, we all still need to seek and talk, have more conversations. More help needs to be available. We definitely need more Black male therapists. That's another thing too, because we get calls off the hook and we can't serve everybody. And imagine when they call us and we're like, we full. What does the message that we send to them is rejection. It's like, all right, I'm finally here to get help. Like my shirt, finally here to hear my own voice, but I can't. So because you're full. And then we have this again, here's the internal, external thing that's showing up in front of all of us.
Right.
So I guess even getting back to the question, you know, I know we said we can have these conversations or whatever, but what other things can we do, especially for Black men, to help reduce that stigma when it comes down to, you know, just mental health in general?
So me, like what I try to do just for myself is like, I try to not speak in a way of, you know, making things too in the clouds or too kind of highbrow. So I try to talk to a way like, yo, you my boy, you my partner, like, yo, this is what it is. And I try to explain stuff in a way of where like, you know, but if I were talking to a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, they would understand what I'm talking about, regardless of, you know, whether or not, you know, I have all these degrees and all this training and knowledge. So I try to break stuff down, and I use a ton of analogies to do that. So when I kind of normalize the problem and say like, hey, you know what, you're feeling like, you know, like you want to cry all day because your friend, you know, or your brother or your father just passed away, right? Like, how would you supposed to feel? Like, how would you tell somebody else to feel? Like when you do that othering and say like, man, like, listen to what's going on. Like I've had people, you know, contact me, you know, potential clients or whatnot, and just going through a ton of stuff, like with COVID, you know, losing jobs, losing family members and stuff like that. And they're like, but I feel like I should still be doing good. And it's like, really, is that the expectation? And like when I normalize that and give them permission to say like, yo, bruh, like you, the fact that you still holding on the way you are, I'm not sure I would be doing that considering all that you went through. Like, come on, man, we got to raise up off that. And they're like, you know what? I never looked at it like that. I guess you're right. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to push. You don't have to go ham all day. It's human. Like you dealing with a lot. The expectation would be that this stuff would impact you if you cared about it.
I agree, Stevon. And then I think even for me, it's not even just about changing the language. It's also me about changing my approach as a therapist and how I engage in therapy. You know, for a lot of my clients, man, either I'm working out with them or especially a lot of my kids, man, I'm playing video games. Like some of my sessions, man, I'm on Call of Duty or I'm on GTA. I can't get into Fortnite. I refuse to play Fortnite. But or even I'm playing the pool game on iPhone. You know what I'm saying? So like understanding that there are different ways for us to engage in therapy too, which helps reduce that stigma, but then also allows us to get to that level of that person and reaching that person where they are.
Yeah. Like you said, relationship. It's reciprocal too, right? So you imagine and think about when we were growing up. Think about how much you had your conversation with your homeboy. Y'all playing a video game and talking, right? The distraction was the video game. So I, just like you, we was playing Madden or 2K with clients. I get more out of them while we're playing the video game. They just open up.
Right.
You know, just being able to relate and just like everybody's saying, man, just having more conversation and showing up more. Like the more that we get more exposure, we talk about what we've been through, how therapy helped us, with the benefits of therapy, the benefits of a relationship, the safety of therapy, all those different things to kind of normalize it and just, you know, promote it and talk about the vulnerability and exposure and all that type of stuff, man. All that stuff is important.
So with your question, I heard like, how do you deal with stigma with about mental health or things like that? I'm thinking about someone who's not in therapy, a Black man that's not in therapy. That's what I'm hearing, as opposed to someone that's already signed up, intake, everything, and you're trying to continue to engage them. So when I'm hearing a brother that's following us on social media, when they see one of our posts about normalizing mental health or that it's okay to get treatment or something like that, that's most of the DMs that I get from brothers like, yo, I see your post and you made me realize that it's not an issue. There's nothing wrong with therapy. Yeah. I can go. And
no, that's real.
There's some people, as I was saying before, there's some people, everybody's not going to ascribe to come to therapy. And I don't feel that that's always a stigma. But I feel like the conversation, whether you are in a small rural town or you're in Afghanistan, you've heard about therapy before. And that has been a complete shift from before. So we have made an impact. We are making an impact, and the world has made an impact by having this conversation about it. Are there going to be people that people don't want to come? That's absolutely fine. But my thing is, even if you don't go to therapy, you know about what therapy is, and you know that people are going. And if you choose not to go, that's your business. But the awareness of it, and that's my goal, is that to push it to the forefront for Black men, that you know, even if you never come, but you know the black therapist posted something and like, damn, that made me think. That is making an impact to me. If you don't make it into my office, I don't care. But you've seen something that I posted, I was like, yo, young black man is all right. And that's when you get them, because I get the DMs like, bro, I never thought about therapy before. I don't think I want to come, but you're making me think differently. Or you made me think about that I should work on my anger in this way or form. And that is what I feel like is important. And that's the impact that we make it. I want to make an impact globally, even if you don't come. I don't think everybody needs to go to therapy, but you do need to have mental wellness. That's my philosophy. Whether you come to me or call to anybody or you don't go, be aware of your mental wellness, because that can make an impact. Whatever works for you to make you well, do that.
No, that's real. That's real. That's real. I guess going on to, I know we running low on time, but I want to go to the next topic, man. How do you remain encouraged and hopeful in difficult situations? So I know we talked about, just the different stressors or the different triggers that we have going on. Then we also talked about how stigma plays a role into, just as black men pursuing, mental health treatment, and like I said, mental health treatment is not just going to a therapist. You could be doing Reiki, you could be doing yoga. It could be like I subscribe to all of those different things. So it's not just therapy. But like when times are hard, bruh, and you feel like you rock bottom and you got those those self-loathing thoughts, and you really can't see nothing good going on in your life, what do you do?
It's tough. I mean, like we said, I think staying grounded is paying attention to the small things that happen and are good, because it's so easy to focus on everything bad that's happening around us, and we tend
Especially with the news.
Yeah, we tend to focus on that things without realizing, I woke up this morning, so let me celebrate the little wins. I got to work, or if I'm not working, I got to fill out an application, or if I didn't fill out an application, whatever the small wins are, we pay attention to them, because we're so focused on the end that we don't pay attention to the journey. That's what gets us lost. I read something the other day. It was saying, while you're on a journey, make sure you pay attention to the compass, right? So now you're watching which way you're going. So those little small things, when you're in that low area, you find a way to kind of just pay attention to look at yourself and see, what can I do right now that would change the way I feel in the 5 seconds before that? What can I do right now?
Real.
Sure. Like I think about the kind of in thinking, like I think Rashawn was kind of, I guess, alluding to this piece, is how people are kind of getting swept up in all the content of what they're watching. So like I try to get people to kind of really monitor or put boundaries around your intake, right? Like what are you feeding into your system? If you're already in a low place, you got to be careful about what you are letting in and what you are allowing to kind of feed and grow that stuff. And I think, like, to kind of what Bashea was talking about, is like getting people to slow down a bit and say, hey, you know what? Is it going to be bad forever, right? And like we got to notice that. So you can start to catastrophize. You can get in that tornado of negativity and just start to spiral. And so what I do is I try to get people to kind of have the understanding between, like, possibility and probability, right? That, like, it is possible that things can continue to be terrible and it can be horrible and your life may never get better. But like, how probable is that, right? That, like, if we look at, your life over time, I don't know, and maybe for some few people it has, like, it's been absolutely horrible from day one to where they are now. But for most people, we've had some wins, right? And so we can't discredit that stuff. And so I try to get people to kind of think about the stock market. It's like, where's your trend line going, right? Like, there's some up and downs, right? And that's a part of life. But like, overall, is it getting better? And I think for most people, in my experience, like, there are enough wins to where, we can kind of outweigh the losses. And so, like, not letting people kind of fixate and catastrophize and say, the future is going to be horrible, the world is terrible, people are horrible, and, kind of having them question some of that stuff.
True. I would say for me, man, I've been at the lowest of the low, man. Y'all know my story. For those of y'all that don't, man, I attempted suicide 3 times. And and that was something where I feel like I ain't want to be here no more. Like I feel like I wasn't worthy, and just so many things. So I know what that's like. And then just hearing the voices, telling me that stuff as well. So for me to push through that, it goes, and I know we were talking about, how we help others. I'm gonna speak from a personal experience. For me, is knowing that there's something good. Like even like Bashea said, waking up in the morning is something to cherish and to be grateful for. Because honestly, if you look at my story, I shouldn't be here. But finding those small wins and making sure those small wins add up to the big ones. And we're not going to always hit a home run. Sometimes you got to hit that bunt and try to make it to first base, bro. I mean, but then also being able to hone in on, what's in my control? What can I do to make this next step happen? All of this other stuff that may be going on in the world, and I have no control over that. But I do have control over shutting my phone off, or shutting down the group me because they talking about some stuff I don't want to talk about, or I don't want to hear, or not even, cutting on the TV. I have a control over what music I want to listen to make sure I'm upbeat instead of slouching in my bed. Focusing on that. That's what helps me to get those small wins up, and I'll get my wheels turning, and then I can start to tackle everything else. So even with all of that, man, my last and final question I want to ask is, how does our support system impact our mental health? And how can we stay connected in a time where we're supposed to be socially distanced, Aaron?
You coming for me?
Your birthday.
Your birthday.
You're like 80.
Okay. You know what? Because I love Bashea, I ain't gonna say nothing. Because he definitely had a whole.
He was ready.
Wedding. And I had 20 people at mine.
No mask.
We had masks. We gave out masks and thermometers.
Mask off.
Listen, we took temperatures and all that. But and the big thing about that isolation is that isolation doesn't have to mean that you're not seeing each other. It's just how you connect now. So we have, my family, we did a something like this, like a Zoom with, my family in Aruba and my family in Holland and my family here in the States. And we were supposed to have a family reunion. So instead of doing that, we did it via Zoom, which that was awesome.
Where were they at again? What you say?
I knew it was
Aruba, Holland.
He didn't say Aruba. He said Aruba and Holland.
My father's from Aruba.
Where is Holland?
My father's from Aruba, man. So yeah, so my family over there. So it was nice to connect with them and stuff like that. Even with the last question that you guys omitted me from, that I wanted to respond.
Oh, man, look, we took a pause and you
had silence. It was
because I forgot the question.
Come on, man. Hey, accountability there, Aaron. Own your stuff.
I forgot the question. I was like, all right, hopefully somebody. I'm like, maybe somebody will repeat it. Nobody repeated the question, as you said. Like nobody repeated it, so
I remember it.
Whatever. But I want to say that support is very important, especially for Black men. Accountability, having that support, someone that you can feel vulnerable with, and saying that, hey, I'm not feeling well, or hey, this is going on in my life. This is going on. Just wanted to just vent or talk to you, feeling comfortable. And I feel like that's an important part for Black men we need to get to. Now that we're talking about mental wellness, whether it be that, they take care of their physical health more, their mental health more by eating well or exercising or watching their anger, whatever it is. And now that we utilize each other's support on another level, in terms of like being able to check in, like, hey, are you good? And past that superficial stuff, like really finding out what's going, and feeling comfortable and vulnerable enough to divulge information and feel supported by another brother. So I feel like that's very important. That's another level we need to get to in our brotherhood relationships.
Yeah, I definitely think support is so vital to your growth and to your well-being and to your mental health and all that good stuff. And then we got to watch what type of support, right? Because not every type of support is healthy.
It's good for us, right? Because
Right.
somebody who would have reinforced negative behaviors,
Right.
is right. So generally, somebody knows if I'm checking in with them or if they ask me to hold them accountable, I'm going to do it in the appropriate way and not, reinforce. I'm like, didn't you say you want to watch that or be mindful of that?
And we know who to go to. You know who your friends are.
Right, and that's exactly it too, right? Because you know the ratchet friend that's going to say, "Yo, don't do that, son." You know what I'm saying? You know exactly.
Yo, let's go to the bar, son. Yo,
yeah.
That chick, she done, yo, F that bar, yo. Let's go to the bar. Let's go pick up some chicks, bro.
Right.
I won't be that friend. I'm not going to reinforce.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That negative, especially if you trust me, I'm going to hold you accountable for what you asked me to do.
And we got to be okay with that too, right? Because we asked for that. And when that shift changed, I mean, that's an uncomfortable shift for us. Now we got somebody who's my peer that's telling me I'm doing wrong. Like, who are you to tell me? We got to just be open to saying, like, I trust you. This is what I need. I know I might buck the system for a little bit. That's part of my shift. But y'all got to be able to have conversations about that too.
Yeah.
And to that point though, Bashea, it's even also you're teaching your support how to be a good support for you.
Right. This is what I need. This is what I need. This is what is helpful. Right. So even learning that is important.
Right. Because even like, a couple of weeks ago, I hit Bashea up, was like, I hit him with some stuff and he was just like, bruh, how can I support you? I was like, yo, I don't even know. But it felt good to just even get that off my chest right now and just know this is the state I'm in. And I'm going to just leave it at that because I don't want to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? So even just stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like, I was thinking about it when you were talking about, like, the support and social distancing. And, like, also, like, when you just said that of, like, teaching people how you like to be supported, is that, like, we look at the time that we're in and, like, feeling isolated and everybody's like, that's a terrible thing. For some people, that's kind of freeing too, right? Like, not that they're, like, doing bad stuff in isolation, but, like, having to kind of be on or out and connecting and stuff is a lot of work or it's draining for them. So, like, now they're like, hey, I can actually have more relationship with people in a way that doesn't drain my battery, right? So this could be like a time for them to thrive. And so, like, I know that what we see mostly, like, kind of on the internet or you hear from people is like, this sucks. I can't wait to get back out and be doing restaurants and all this stuff. But also, I think, like Aaron was saying, is that, hey, this is a time where people are connected. Or maybe what Bashea was saying, it like in a real way. And, like, if I'm an introvert and I like to kind of, do a one-on-one thing and not have the big crowd, like, this is my opportunity. Like, yo, I can hop on a Zoom with my boy, right? Or maybe we can go to a park and it's be social distance and we're outside and stuff like that and go on a walk, a mask on or something. But, like, the distraction or, like, the pull of having to be everywhere or everything to everyone is gone. So that expectation is off. So I don't have that responsibility. And I think for some folks, like, we got to acknowledge in real life. And I mean, I'm preaching for myself, like, is that's freeing for me. Cause, like, I know, I feel like I have to attend to people, right? It's just kind of my nature. So it's hard for me in big groups and big spaces to, like, really feel like I'm still on. Like, not that, like, anybody's requesting that of me, but, like, I don't know how not to, like, yo, man, damn, that happened, or, oh man, tell me more about that. And it's like, it just takes stuff from me. And so it's like, if I can do that one-on-one more, this is gold.
Right.
And creating the little things, like, we had like Zoom date nights, where you still stay connected with other couples. You guys just
right. Yeah, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? You ask questions and everything like that.
We had 3 levels of relationship, right? We had the married, I was engaged, and then we had the other boy.
That was dating.
Yeah,
he's dating. So it was nice. You just kind of conversing and having conversation, being creative. My anniversary is coming up 6 years, so I'm trying to find, like, a quarantine.
Here you go. Give us not social distance way to party.
Listen, I'm tired of y'all clowning me with this. Listen, it was mask on, quarantine safe. So that's what I'm trying to find for my anniversary now.
So y'all gonna get a jet or something?
Right. Times Square.
Well, listen, listen, you're onto something right there. So, baby.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, you got to be creative.
You talk about levels to couples. It's levels to this living.
It's
Right.
but you know that's celebrating Black love, right?
Right, and that's what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that we have these conversations for Black men, you know, by Black men, and you know, I love being a Black man, so I'm always down for these conversations to encourage, because you never know who you touching. I mean, if everybody really told us how they felt, and we would be amazed at the work that we're doing. Like I said, from the dinner that they had for my birthday, I didn't realize the little things that people recognize that you do. That's just automatic. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying to you fellas, just keep on doing what you're doing, because you're making an impact by your post and by modeling for other Black brothers out there. You know what I'm saying? And y'all fly, rich, and famous too. So that just adds another let's add another layer to just the dynamic of how great y'all is.
Hey, look, on
your private jet company, Fly Rich and Famous.
Right. So on that note, man, I think it's a perfect segue to, you know, close us out. And like we know, HBO is celebrating the life of Yusuf Hawkins with the Storm Over Brooklyn documentary. Of course, again, we said that it's out now, you know, on HBO and HBO Max. But they're creating this celebration of Black men and boys, you know, to celebrate our beauty, our strength, and our courageousness, you know. So I guess to close it out, man, I wanted to know, what final words do y'all got, you know, just for the Black men that are watching this, and you know, just to keep them on their square when it comes down to their mental health and their mental wellness.
So I'm gonna start. Black Kings, just want to tell you that needing help or asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but actually a sign of strength.
Like that.
I'll go next. I say, you know, Black men, Black women, the Black race, the Black people, I love y'all, man. If you never heard it, if you looking to hear it, I love y'all. I got your back.
Definitely.
I'd say lean into who you are. You know, being Black is dope. Don't ever let images or media or other people kind of make you feel bad for who you are. Celebrate yourself.
Ooh, love that. I think in addition to leaning who you are, I would say learn who you are. Yeah. And understand that being Black is not one specific thing. We come in all shapes, colors, and sizes, but then we all come with different likes and things that we dislike as well. So don't allow, you know, whether that's, you know, the media, social media as well, to dictate how Black you are. You know, if that's what you identify as and you identify as Black, you're beautiful, and enjoy that and embrace that. Fellas, you know, any other thing y'all want to shout out real quick? I know Bashea done shouted out his book. Anybody else got anything else going on?
Oh yeah, so like I said, I'm located in Southern California. I'm actually working on putting together a Black therapist directory for SoCal. Probably going to open it up to all of California in a minute. And it comes from, like, right before COVID hit, I hosted a Black therapist meetup. So just clinicians came from kind of all over Southern California, all Black, in the same space. And so starting that dialogue, and this is a follow-up to that, to try to create a directory for us so that we can kind of refer to each other and support one another and have access to each other.
Love it. Nice.
So I recently started doing corporate presentations for companies about wellness and anxiety, and kind of the anxieties about going back into the workplace, you know, due to COVID or kind of racial tension that's going on. So I have a corporate menu in terms of courses that I offer to businesses. It can be, you can have a whole dinner menu, or it could be a la carte in terms of the courses that I offer. Yeah, gonna stop clowning me, man. What y'all think of that?
That was dope. That's dope, though. Like, that was fancy, man.
I love that. It's just the fact that y'all know when he said dinner, y'all know where my mind went is to his birthday. Hey man, I'm a kid at heart, man. Like,
man.
I'm sorry, man.
We wouldn't be who we are, man. We wouldn't be connected if we didn't clown each other. Had
no talk.
Nah, man.
I'm just mad, y'all. I'm gonna stay quiet. Rashawn, what's that green book you got? What's that green book right there? Oh, stop.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
No, oh man, I appreciate the plug, though, Stevon.
Yes, sir.
Nah, so like the Green Book is the Why You Stressing Journal, man. I just released it a couple of weeks ago. It's something that really I built off of just my own journaling style to be able to address my own mental health challenges. But it's similar to like what Stevon said before. It's managing what you intake. So it's who you talk to. What foods did you eat? What you watch on TV? What music did you listen to? All of these types of things. And a lot of times we don't really realize how these things impact our mental well-being. So I created this guide for you to start doing research on yourself and then start to be able to make certain changes that you need to make in your own life. So that's available now too as well. So now I appreciate you shouting it out, though, Stevon.
Yes, sir.
And I'll mention my book again, Dear Future Wife, A Man's Guide and a Woman's Reference to Healthy Relationships. It's just not just a read, it's also a workbook in it. And I also work in the corporate space to helping the employer and employee have better relationships, the work environment, and all that good stuff. So corporate as well as couples and families relationships.
Yeah, I think we all do corporate stuff. So yeah, no, if y'all need certain things, man, I think we all cover those things when it comes down to speaking, but then also developing tools for you to be able to manage working with your employees, and then creating that real holistic environment to address mental health needs. So no, feel free to reach out to us, man. Again, man, we appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate y'all chopping it up with us, man. Y'all see that we're knowledgeable, but then also we're down to earth too. And so like we keep each other humble. So we make sure that we don't get too above ourselves, but we want to present mental health in a way that is digestible, but then also that you'll get something from it, because I mean that's the only way we'll be able to really address the needs of the people and not speaking that clinical jargon, man. So that's what we wanted to make sure that we provided with y'all today. We hope that y'all gain something from it. Again, y'all check out the documentary. And then, and then follow us on socials and stuff, man. And so if y'all need us, hit us up. Love y'all, boys, man. I appreciate all of y'all tuning in, and I appreciate y'all.
All right, peace out.
All right, man. Y'all, love, peace.
Peace out.